Hello, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Welcome back to Premier League Countdown. This is the Crystal Palace episode. Hopefully, you guys have been enjoying the series so far. Obviously, you're seeing this on the 1st of August. I'm recording this at 10:30 on the 31st of July. So, any news that has hit since then, I don't know about. But make sure to like the video and subscribe if you're new. Any fan of any club is welcome on this channel. We're trying to hit 500 subscribers on this YouTube channel. We do talk about West Ham, but we talk about everyone on this YouTube channel as well. And yeah, let's get straight into it. Now, Crystal Palace obviously ended the season on a high last season. I actually don't remember where they finished. I probably should have looked that up beforehand, but they ended the season on a high last season after struggling once they brought back Roy Hodgson after the Patrick Vieira sacking. Roy Hodgson did well as an interim, and then they signed him for another year or whatever, and then he ended up being very ill, also very out of touch with football, and also getting sacked at a similar time. Also, really ruining Michael Elise's season by playing him whilst injured. And that Brighton game should have been the last straw, but I think they managed to keep him on for another game. Crystal Palace finished 10th last season. Just saw that now, which no one really expected Palace to finish there once they saw the state that they were in under Roy Hodgson as well. But they made a very ambitious appointment in Oliver Glasner coming in. A very ambitious appointment. A man who won the Europa League against Frankfurt, tormented my team, West Ham United, within that campaign as well. They were a very good team, and they had Dichi Kamada there, who signed for Crystal Palace. And let's get on to Crystal Palace and Glasner. That Glasner system is amazing to watch because it has the balance of it being hard to break down when it's at its best, and also being very creative attacking wise because there's just a box in midfield, hugging the touchline with wing backs, and it's very hard to deal with when the three attackers link up and they pin themselves on the two centre backs and outnumber them throughout the middle, which we saw get the best out of Mateta, playing with Elise and Eze and adjusting behind and stuff. And like, if you think about the options that they have right now, the squad is actually better than people realized, because I think the Palace fans were right, obviously, in terms of Roy Hodgson not getting the best out of that squad. Now, I knew Adam Wharton was going to be a good signing, but I didn't realize he was going to take the storm by this. And by the way, you're listening to the biggest Adam Wharton fan that doesn't support Blackburn or Crystal Palace. I'm probably the biggest Adam Wharton fan there is outside of them two clubs. Like, he is amazing. I'm going to get onto him in a minute before I keep waxing lyrical about him. I don't shout when I start talking about him. But if you look at their options, like Sam Johnson and Dean Henderson as goalkeeping options, not bad. I prefer Sam Johnston personally. I just think he's better overall. Like, they will have a 3-4-2-1 formation, so three at the back will be probably the new signing Riyadh. I think his name is it Chaddy Riyadh? Chaddy Riyadh. And Mark Gay and Joaquim Anderson. Obviously, they might have expected Gay to leave, and that's probably why they signed Chaddy Riyadh as probably the left centre back option. But they play all three of them. Now, because I don't think anyone's going to go after Gay. I think they probably think that he's probably priced out of a move, and it'll be very expensive to get him. But they've obviously got that. As the deeper midfield options, they've got Wharton. I think Will Hughes is still there. I think they must have re-signed Will Hughes, because Will Hughes very impressed with it a lot. And when Glasner came in, looked like a whole new player. And we know he's a good player, but it just been very meaty since he went to Palace. But sometimes systems just get the best out of players. Obviously, Adam Wharton, Will Hughes, and Czech Decore, who I don't know whether he's injured again. I think I saw something the other day about him being injured again. I don't know. I think he might have been in a preseason game. And obviously Jefferson Lerma, who's heavily underrated. Underrated when he was at Bournemouth. Bournemouth fans appreciate him. I appreciate him as a neutral. And I saw why Bournemouth fans were hyping him up. But a lot of the people that don't watch Premier League games outside of the Big Six games, they didn't appreciate Jefferson Lerma enough. That guy is a controller in midfield. Maybe not the most mobile, and sometimes can be rash, but that is the South American in him. And he can hit a ball as well. And he's perfect for that system. He's just overall just a great player, and was very good in the Copa America. His quality always shines through. The wing back options people may look at and be like, that's probably where Crystal Palace might differ in a sense. But like Jeffrey Schlupp could still play left wing back, maybe, but fill in, but he's probably not got the pace anymore. But their options are Munoz, who's another great player, another underrated signing, and Tyrick Mitchell, and a great player who should have been called up to the Euros and should have been starting for England every game as England were struggling with their left back options. People will be like, oh, it's too many Crystal Palace players. I'm here to tell you right now, it's about the best players that suit what they're trying to do. And if England get the right coach, they'll notice that Tyrick Mitchell and Rico Henry are the best England left backs that England have, not Luke Shaw. Not Luke Shaw, definitely not Ben Chilwell. I'll tell you that for sure. No pun intended. Outside of them, I don't really know who comes in. I'm not really too sure of the depth there. I know Joel Ward is still about, but in this system, he'd probably be better suited to three at the back. I know Nathaniel Klein is Nathaniel Klein still there? Did he get released or did he sign a new deal? I don't know. But if he's still there, I know he can fill in, but it's probably not the greatest options in that sense. And striker I'll get onto, but everywhere else is decent. Like there's not really wingers in this situation now. The two players that play behind a striker can operate as wingers or number 10s. They kind of have the freedom to operate all around. Now, Elise has left. Michael Elise has left, and yes, that'll be a big blow for them. However, not only have they recruited well over the years, and thanks to Dougie Freeman as well. Dougie Freeman obviously being touted by Manchester United, and Palace managed to keep him. And obviously, Dougie Freeman has that sentiment value as well when it comes to Crystal Palace after being the former manager that started in that last season of getting them promoted before Ian Holloway took over, as well before moving to Bolton Wanderers. I watched the documentary, that's why I know all of this, with the Balassi and Zaha days and the Glenn Murrays up front, that Crystal Palace team. But overall as well, even though Elise has left, he was absent for a lot of the games. So they're almost somewhat used to playing without him. So he will be a massive blow in terms of the quality and the final third quality and how amazing he is. And I've propped up the signing quite a lot for him going to Bayern Munich. And in general, he's probably one of the better right wingers in the world, like just in general, like overall. But they've also got players like Mateus França who can develop into, I think, is it Mateus or Marcus? It's one of them names. Francis is his last name. That's all I know. França, the young Brazilian guy who looks technically gifted, looks like he can develop his skills once he becomes less raw. Also, someone like a Jordan Ayew can play there. He did play there a couple of times behind the striker as well. Could operate as a winger and number 10 in that sense. Eber Eze, of course, probably one of my favourite players to watch outside of West Ham. In terms of Premier League players, I wanted him at West Ham. Gutted we missed out on him, and because I watched him at QPR, and I thought this guy's special. This guy's going to get England call up one day, and he did get an England call up again. Another man who probably should have played more at the Euros, but yeah. But Jean-Philippe Mateta, a man who I'm going to say purple patch. Sorry, I know Palace fans are probably in love with him now, but he looked like a bit of a donkey before Glasner. Like, he had his moments. Obviously, that goal against Leicester under Roy Hodgson last season when Palace stayed up. He has his moments where he can pin a defender and shoot. I know a lot of people say, oh, this is the worst striker I've ever seen in the Premier League. I've seen way worse at West Ham, let alone in the Premier League. You're telling me that guy is worse than Jonathan Calleri? Probably some of you probably don't even remember Jonathan Calleri. So maybe that guy's worse than none of them are coming to my mind right now. Dennis Undav when he was at Brighton. I know Undav is going for a price right now, but he's better than Undav. I'm trying to think of strikers on the top of my head that were really, really shit back in the day. But there's none are coming to my head right now. Is he worse than Ricardo Fuller? He's better than Ricardo Fuller. Ricardo Fuller was shit, but he's better than Ricardo Fuller. These are random strikers coming to my head. But with Jean-Philippe Mateta, I know Edouard is there. Edouard's shit. Sorry, Edouard's shit. That's all I'm going to say on Hudson Edouard. I'm sorry. He had a purple patch, and maybe it's because of the system. Maybe the system will bring more out of him, and he'll score 10 to 15 goals next season. I don't think he'll get that move to Aston Villa. I don't think that was as concrete. But I also think it's not great to sign someone off a purple patch and sign someone off a small stint of good form. I believe Palace need a striker anyway. In my opinion, I think they should be going after. I think it'll actually be a little bit of a mistake if they don't go after a striker, because otherwise they'll be playing either Edouard or Ayew up front if Mateta gets injured. I believe they should have signed a striker and Mateta compete with them and try and sell Edouard on if anyone actually wants him. But I believe overall they have a decent squad. Now, where they can finish next season, I generally think they can be in a European battle, but it actually more depends on their injuries and if they recruit players in certain positions, as I've said. Now, if you look at the transfer window that they've had so far, it mainly consists of two signings, that being Chadi Riyad and Dichi Kamada. And Dichi Kamada is a very good signing, was very good at Frankfurt. They've got a special player there. And Glasner knows him very well from the Frankfurt days. He absolutely destroyed West Ham when I watched him. Obviously, those are the two signings so far. From what I've heard, this Riyad guy's a good player. Obviously, played under the dreaded manager Pellegrini. But those are the only two signings that they made so far. And obviously, they were in talks to sign Joe Bellingham, but he's staying at Sunderland. And I don't think that would have been as good of a signing as people would have thought, just because of the name Bellingham. He wasn't really a stand-up player in the Championship. He's got some way to go when it comes to being ready for the Premier League. He's got a couple of years if he keeps going. Like, not even the best player at Sunderland. Like, Jack Clark is right there. They signed. Oh, do you know what? Actually, they signed Ismail Assar as well. To be fair, I remember they just confirmed the signing of Ismail Assar. That's another signing that, again, another player that can play behind those two positions behind the striker as more of a winger or 10. And I liked him at Watford. I wanted West Ham to sign him, but he went to Marseille, and we didn't go in for him. And him and Dennis had some good moments. Him, João Pedro, and Dennis. That front three shouldn't have been relegated. That there's been way worse front threes that I've seen in the Premier League that have survived. So that the Watford are a mess, though. Ismail Assar is another great player that they've signed, and they're almost prepared for Ibarra Eze to go. Like Jordan Ayew, Kamada, França, and Sarr. Let's say if Eze went, which he won't go this window, in my opinion. But if they had them before as options, that's not bad options either with the right amount of coaching. But those are good options. Those are good depth options. But they're probably gonna have to mix it up when it comes to wing backs as well. When it comes to what was the other position? I said the striker position as well. But overall, they could still challenge for Europe. You know, like they could be up there. They could even listen. They could typically finish 13th as they usually do. But they could pull off a top 8 position. Like if you look at other teams, I'm going to bring you other teams that are going to be around those positions. Manchester United, yeah. I've signed a couple good players, and they're under new regime, but they're not good enough right now. Palace are a better team than Manchester United right now. Palace could be a better team than Liverpool, let alone fucking Man United. And Chelsea. You never know what Chelsea Liverpool could do, but I think Chelsea would do all right next season. And I think Liverpool will be okay, in my opinion. But that is, again, this is just my opinion. But Brighton were up there last season, well, for a bit, and then they dropped off. Brighton won't be the same. I don't know about their manager, but I just don't feel like they'll be the same, especially after Pascal Gross leaving. We discussed that a couple of days ago. I'm sure Palace fans will be happy with that. Although I'm not the oracle. West Ham, my team, we're not probably going to be up there straight away. Like we're signing Somerville as it stands, and we might be signing Wan-Bissaka or and Fulkirk as well. But that's not going to bring us Europe straight away. We could be up there as well, but Palace will. No, we're not going to affect anything that Palace are doing at this current moment in time. I'm trying to think who else was that. Bournemouth could have a good season as well. So let's discuss Bournemouth and Palace as the underdogs to Europe battles. I think they could be the underdogs in terms of maybe trying to get a European battle. I think Aston Villa will be there. Tottenham don't even look the same. A lot of the big 6 teams I don't put it this way: the top 6 won't be the big 6 teams. Like not all of them are going to make it there. If you're asking me, I think Man United will miss out. So I think it's all out in the open. I think Villa maybe take the other spot. But I think we can see another bad Man United season. They have bad coaching involved. This gives an opportunity for someone like Crystal Palace to take an opportunity and fulfill one of those positions. Just my opinion. I think Palace fans should be have that attitude of, we've got nothing to lose. Let's fucking go for it. Because they should have, they will not at all be in a relegation battle next season. I'll be very surprised. Very surprised. They're the team to watch. I actually don't like Palace. I don't like their fans. But however, their fans in real life are kind of funny. They've got good character. I've met a few Palace fans in real life due to certain stuff, and they're good people. And the players, I hate to say it, but they've got a lot of players that I like. Eze, I've always loved. Adam Wharton, I love. Adam Wharton's an amazing. Let's talk about Adam Wharton just for a second. Adam Wharton is amazing. Adam Wharton is so press resistant. He is not fazed by any part of the footballing pitch, a part of the football pitch. He is also not not phased by any press. He passes like it's nothing to him. He grabs the big stages by the scruff of the neck. He's not phased by the big stages. He could have played in the Euros. He should have started for England every game in the Euros. There, I said it. I said it before and I'll say it again. He should have started every game. The guy's a controller of midfields. The guy is also great off the ball, winning the ball back high up the pitch, putting blocks in and tackles in. He has that all-round midfield. Do you know when, like, before the 2020s decade where we talk about midfielders and they were just midfielders? That guy is just a midfielder. He's not anything. He's not a 6'8", 10. He's everything. He's creative from deep, passing in between the line, doing the basic stuff well, and doing the difficult stuff to a great level as well. Now, again, Palace fans, I've suffered with this as well. As a West Ham fan, you're not going to like me saying this, but it's probably the truth. Either next season or the season after, he's going to get his move. However, you have the ball is in your court because he doesn't seem like the guy to push for a move, and he's on a long contract. So if you push, so let's say you do get Europe this season, which is actually a big possibility in my opinion, then fuck it, you could keep him. And even then, judging by the way you're recruiting, you'll find the next Adam Wharton. You'll find the next Decore. If Decore was fully fit, he probably would have been moving by now, and you still would have been fine. Palace fans, you got something going. I don't know what your expectations are, but you guys are building something like significant, to say the least. So well done to the appointment of Glasner. And you guys have got a bright future. Obviously, I don't see Glasner's not one of them type of managers that's going to be poached by another team anytime soon as well. And even then, you might even recruit an even better manager if Glasner gets poached. Like, you don't even need to worry about all of that stuff. Like, you guys are one of the more interesting teams to talk about the Premier League. That's why this video is 17 minutes long. But I'm going to get the video done there. I think I've talked about enough. I think I've glazed Palace enough. I'm going to get, but if you want to know my predictions, I'm going to be doing a Premier League predictions video closer to when the season starts. So if you don't want to miss that video, make sure to subscribe. Because we're trying to hit 500 subscribers before the end of the year. Make sure to like the video. And make sure to follow all social medias at GVOMax. They're all in the description down below, including the email for the inquiries. And I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.